listeners, Harika here, and I'm super excited to welcome you to UppTalk. If you're ready to learn and get your hands work wonders in the world of information technology, then you're in the right place. When I say UppTalk, we are not just another edtech company. Consider we are your learning partner committed to unlocking your full potential. Whether you're stepping into the world of technology for the first time or looking to advance your career, we provide top-tier, hands-on courses to build up your career. Let's take our first step towards learning here and explore it.
Today, we will learn about the XLT. Basically, in XSLT is a language which will be used to transform the XML style sheets, A sheets. Parent node, the parent node. There can be just one parent node in one XL. It will be like there will be one version. Basically, in XML, you will see in every XML, there is a version and there is an encoding type. Version and encoding type. Version will be 1.0 and encoding type will be UTF-8. Here, when I extracted XML, this is a good example. When I get those plugins, basically, we will be able to do some conversion in Notepad Cloud. Basically, whenever you work on any project, you will get some IDs. There is some XML. There will be some tools, for example, Oxygen tools. In Oxygen tool, basically, you can just open your XML file and then based on that XML file, you can create some XSLT and you can check the transformation as well. What exactly transformation I'm talking about? Basically, in this integration, if you remove the transformation, let's say I am removing the transformation from this EIB. I'm removing the transformation. I'm selecting none. And then in delivery, by default, your EIB generates XML data. What that XML data will be, that is something you can check in the report as well. Let me just show you next. What you do, let's say this is the integration. This is the report. In the report, whenever you check, what the XML is, something I created ISU as well, right on that particular day. In this custom report, I went to just web service. In the related action web service and BRS. In that bar else, I have extracted the Workday XML file. This is how Workday XML file looks like. Come on. What I'll do, I'll just hard code for a couple of employees. It will not be that big file. Basically, this file is too big. Here, if you see, this is the by default output. By default output of the integration system. This is not the integration system output actually. This is something I have extracted from the report. I checked the XL from the report and this is how it looks like. How this report looks like. Basically, there is one report data. In that report, this is a child. This is a root node. In XM, you will be having that just one root node. The root node should not be multiple. Basically, what I'm saying is, let's say there is one XL. In one XML, you cannot be having two root node. Two root node means node at the same level. Let's say this is opening and this is closing node. In XML, there cannot be a multiple root nodes. You cannot just mention one more root node here. For example, you say A, B, C, and then this cannot be possible in XML. This should not be. This should not happen in XML. In XML, always there should be one parent node. One parent node means there will be just one root node. Now, whatever information you need to store in between this root node. For example, you need to create one root node and there you need to create multiple entries. Here, if you see this XML, this is the root node, this Workday data. Workday report data. This is the root node. If I minimize this, that will hang. See, there is just one root node. There can be multiple root nodes, but there are. A lot of data is stored in this root node. How those data is stored? Basically, you can click on this, then you will see multiple child data. This is a parent node. This is a root node. And this parent node is having multiple child node, which is report entry. For each and every record, there is one report entry. If you minimize this, if I click this, see if I minimize this. This is the entry of one of the record. And this report, this node is child node of this node. What is happening to it? Let me run the integration for this to worker. Because this is going to hang all the time. This is a big file. Now, this will not hang. Basically, what I was saying in the XML file, this is a report, Workday XML file. In the XML file, what it will observe like there will be just one parent node. Here you can see there is just one parent node, and inside this parent node, there will be many child nodes. For example, this one for each and every record, there is one report entry. If I just minimize this, then you will see there are the 5 employees which I have. I have added. There are 5 entries. For this report entry, this is the parent node. For all of this report entry node, this report data is the parent node, and inside this report entry there will be a lot of child node. For example, here worker. This is the another child node. And for this child node, this report, the report entry is the parent node. Now here you need to observe couple of things. Here in this field, what you will observe is a C. This is the child node of this one, but there are some other things as well. See this Workday ID? This Workday ID is child node of this worker. Then in this worker, if you see this tag, this line, then there is one Workday, colon descriptor. We call this as attribute. See, this is one element. This is one element. For this element, this is the attribute. How will you understand what is element, what is attribute, and all those things? For that one, I asked on Friday to go to Who Schools Come. Let me show you what is the Schools Come. In the Schools Come, you need to search for XSLT. Search for XSLT, and here you will get details of each and everything. Basically here, this is the XML tutorial. In this XML tutorial, you don't need to learn everything. Basically, there are a couple of things you need to learn, but I would recommend you to go through this XML tutorial. It will not take that much of time. Instead, you will understand what is XML, what is XPath, and all those things. A couple of things you know, let me show you using this one only. If you go to XML tutorial home, then it will show you how XML looks like. Here everything you will be able to understand very easily. Here in this XML, you can see this is not. This node is the root node. And in every XML, you will see the version and the encoding. The version and the encoding type. There are different versions of XML. We are going to use version 1.0 always. And then encoding. Encoding will be UTF-8. Then after this version in XML, you will observe like there is some root node, and inside the root node there are many child nodes. This is one of the way of representing data. What XML? XML is a language in which internet used to communicate between two systems. When two system communications are required over internet, they use XML language or prefer language. If I show you the actual data, you can just simply click on this. This is the actual data. This data has been represented in this way. This data has been represented in this way. It's just a different form of presenting the data with the elements, tags, attributes, and all those things. Now here in this Earth3 School Come, if you explore further, you will get many examples. Here, this is example 2. In this example, you will see the version is same, and then you have one root node, that is breakfast menu. And in this breakfast menu, you are having child knows that is food. And in that food, there is another child node, that is name. If I ask you the parent of name, then the food is the parent of name. If I ask you the parent of food, then this breakfast menu is the parent of food. And this breakfast menu is the grandparent of name. This is how we manage things in XML. This is how we represent data in XML. Now, do you have any question on this? XML. Like why the data generates in this way? How? What are these tags? What is this thing or not? See, basically in XML, these are tags. These are nodes. The nodes will open and close with this bracket. There, any node will open with this bracket, and that node will close this bracket. And this is node. This is just a node. Basically, this node is open to close one node. You have to end with these kinds of things. Basically, you will be having, this is one complete node. You can say this is one box. To open a box, you need to write something like this to close the box. You need to write something like this. This is one of the section. You can understand this as a section. The section name will be same. In the starting node and the ending node, but the section representation will be different in starting node and ending node. How the section will be represented? The note that the starting node will always be like this. I don't know what we call this bracket. Conical bracket. Maybe you can say this node will be. The starting node will be enclosed within this conical practice. And when you need to end any node, what you have to do is you have to enter one slash. You start the node. Then you enter the slash and then you give the node a name. This will be closer. If there is anything you are typing, this is coming under this root node. If you are typing anything outside like this, that won't come inside this node. That's a different, this is different thing. This is a different node. Basically, this is one of the node. You will get understanding of this node using this U3 school scum. I would recommend you to go through this U3 school scum. And indeed, in this U3 school scum, you understand what is XML, how it looks like then, what is attributes, and all those things. Let me go to, I'm just going through quickly. You know this with Rick's Malcolm. XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. It's like HTML. I'm not sure whether you know HTML or not. HTML is kind of language which is generally used to design the web pages. XML is a language which is generally used to communicate between two systems over internet. Here you can see XML was designed to store and transport data. When you need to transfer data between one system to another system, you can use this XML language. But you can transfer data in XML only when the other system is able to consume that XML data. If the other system is not able to consume XML data, then you need to transform that data. Then now here you understand. Basically, each and every XML will be having one root node. Every XM will be having one root node. In that root node, there will be elements. That elements may contain attributes. If you see here, see the bookstore. This bookstore is a parent node. This bookstore is a parent node in which this book is an element. This book is an element, and in this book element there is one category, cooking. Basically, in the library there can be many books. This is a parent. This is something you can understand. This is a library. Now, when you enter library, then there are many sections. Many sections, like somewhere there is a history section. In history section, you will be able to see only history books. In geography section, you will be able to see only geography books. In technical section, you will be able to see coding books. In manufacturing section, you will be able to see manufacturing books. Like that, there will be many categories. What we do is we define that category as an attribute for each and every element. Here in this particular set C, this is optional. This category is optional. This is something we call attribute. For each and every element, attribute will not be there. But if you want to categorize, if you want to define that attribute, like this is one book and this book belongs to history department. If you want to categorize, we generally do that categorization using attributes. The XML will always be in this kind of tree structure. Always be in this kind of tree structure. There will be one root element. For that root element, there will be many child nodes. We call that child node as elements. And element inside, elements that can be attributes, that cannot be attributes. It depends. It depends based on the requirement. Here, in this particular XML case, this bookstore is the parent node, root node. Then this book is the element, and this category is your attribute. Inside book there are another child node. This is another element. You can say sub-element. This is kind of sub-element or another element inside book element. For this title element, there is one attribute which is language. That is the name, is lang. And then this is the actual value. Here all these are attributes, elements, tags and all these things are. But the actual value is stored, something like this one. This is also one of the value and stored inside the attribute. But the actual book value you want to know, like what is the book title? This is the book title. Then this is the author of that book. Then this is the year. Then this is the price of that book. This is how XML looks like. Then there are. See here root, then child, then subchild. Root child and subchild. Any question to here? No again. Here we have the tree structure for this XML will look like this. Now there are a couple of things here. Here in UllTreeScum, basically, you will be able to understand everything in detail. For example, here in self-describing syntax, it is describing the XML version and encoding as well. This will be by default in each and every XML. Whenever you create any XML, whenever you generate any XML, you will get this thing. Let me run this integration again. I'll show you the output file. I think they have installed. They have installed. Meanwhile, this file generate. Let's go here. This will be the first line which will contain the version and the encoding. The next line after this version and the character encoding the next line will be your parent node, the root node. Inside that root node, the next line will be the elements. Here the book is element and which is having the attribute as category. Then here the next subchild inside book is inside book element. There are many other elements. In that element, title is one of the element, then author is another element. Here is another element and price is another element. All these elements are. You can see the child elements of the book. And let's go to syntax. The file has been generated. See when you will generate the file. Then that XML version and now something you will not be able to see in the file. But by default you understand that the version is 1.2 and the encoding is UTF-8. And this is how the output file looks. This is similar to the report output. Here this one is a report output and this is your EIB output. This is similar. What we need to do here is basically whenever we get data in XML format, whenever we will be having XML report output, then we will need to transform that output in another format. For example, as a CSV or let's say a text file, let's say dat file, and there we are going to use XSLT. Before we go and start creating XSLT, you just understand the XML. In XML, now you understand the parent node and root node. There are some syntax things you can just go through and then you will understand. Now there are some elements. A element. You understood what is this element. This is one of the element here. This is a bookstore, is a parent node, root node and book title author. All these are elements. Only thing is you need to understand the hierarchy. Let's say if you want to extract title, then you need to go from bookstore. Basically, you have to write something like this, something like bookstores/book, then /title. Then only you will be able to extract this Harry Potter value. How that will happen, that is something I'm going to explain you anyway. Don't worry about that. You just understand the nodes, elements, attributes and all those things. Now the second element, you understood. The next part is attributes. In attributes, yes, attributes basically for any element. If there is any further description mentioned, that is what we call attributes. An attribute will always look like this. There will be one name. There will be one name and that name equal to there will be some values in double quotes. This value, this female is the value attribute. Value of this attribute. This is the element. This is the element name. This is the attribute name and this is the attribute value. Now we understood elements, attribute node, parent nodes X, M. Then we have one more thing which is important here, that is XML namespace. XML namespace will be used to identify the data source and to avoid the naming conflicts. Here if you see any XML, this is the XML generated by Workday via integration. Here if you see this XMLNS, this is something is called namespace. This is namespace. This XMLNS:/WD, that means this WD will be identified as the namespace for this data source. How this is coming? This is the namespace which you have configured in the report. Let me show where exactly you can see the namespace. If I open this report, if you go to Advanced tab, then in Advanced tab, you will be able to see this namespace. In XLD, basically the data from this report will be identified using this namespace. If you see the report output here also, you have got this namespace. And this Workday will this WD:. Actually, we are defining this WD as a namespace for the data which is coming from this source. This is what it means. You are going to use that. This is in XLD as well. How exactly you are going to use this? I'm going to show you just after some time. Now, the other important things we need to understand is XPath. If I need to navigate to some values, how exactly we can navigate? When I say navigation means, let's say this is the XML, this is the XML. You have to find it. I'm just giving you some queries. You are able to see this XML, right? This is the XML. There is one bookstore in that bookstore. There are many books. And for all the books, there are category defined. For all the books, there are category defined. For example, cooking. Children wave and wave. Then in wave, there are two books. There are two books which is having category as web. Now, if I ask you to extract the price of book Harry Potter. If I ask you the price of book Harry Potter, then how will you identify? First of all, you have this XML. I have given this X. Now you have this XML. Now you need to find the price of one book, and that book is Harry Potter. Here you analyze, like, where is Harry Potter? Where is Harry Potter? First of all, what you will do is you understood, like, there is one book which is Harry Potter. This is a small XML. You are able to understand. This is a small XML. You can simply see and you can understand. Now let's say there is 10,000 line of code. There are hundreds of elements, hundreds of attributes. Then how will you identify? Basically what we do is we generally use to navigate things. Here we already know Harry Potter. This is the Harry Potter node. If we need to identify anything. For Harry Potter book, what we will do is we will navigate. Basically how we will navigate. We will navigate from the root node. This is the root node. Then we will go to the child node. In the bookstore, you can see there are many child on book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4. You can call that as a siblings. But here if you see, this book is not Harry Potter. You need to refer this book. How will you identify that? Like you are referring to book Harry Potter. Basically, in bookstore, you go to the one book. You see the title. You saw the title is Harry Potter. And from that, Harry Potter, you will be able to extract the price as well. What I'm trying to say is basically to reach here price, you need to start navigating from the root node. You need to start navigating from the root node. Let's say if I ask you to extract the name of all the books in the bookstore. Let's say if I ask you to extract title of all books in bookstore. If you need to identify all title of all the books in the bookstore, then basically there are multiple books. And in the end, and for each and every book, there is one tab. There is one element title. You have to extract this title for each and every book. How are you going to do that? You are going to navigate by a root node. You start from the root node, then go to the child node, then go to the another child node. The navigation will be something like this. If you want to get the title of the book, any book, then the navigation will be bookstore. Then book, and then title. Bookstore, book, then title. This is how you are going to navigate. Now let's say you want to extract the title of all the books for the category. Then here what you can do is you can just mention something like this. Category equal to wave. If design X pass something like this, then it will extract the title of all the books for which the category is web. This is something we are going to design after some time anyways. Then we have the next thing is SLT. What is XSLT is basically one extensible styles language transformation tool in which we pass XML and we write XLT to transform the XML into some other format. To transform the XML into some other format. Let me see if there is an example. See, here is an example. Let me show you the example. See, this is one of the XML. This is one of the XML, which is raw data. Basically, Whenever you run the integration without any kind of transformation, you will get up that get data, something like this. And now let's say you have to transform that data in something like this one. Or let's say not something like this one, something like text file. How are you going to do that? You are going to write this kind of code. Let me close this. You are going to write this kind of code. And in this kind of code, the purpose of this kind of code is to transform the data. For example, here, if you see, this is the XML and this is the transformation logic mentioned here. And this is the output file. This is the output file. Now I want some output file in a different way. That is why I'm writing XLT. In XLT, you can put the logic. For example, here, the color you can see in the output is green. And now, if I just mention red, see, this color has been changed. What am I doing is I'm just instructing using this XLT. I am instructing to generate data in one particular format. You will be having something like one raw XML. That XML is required to be transformed into, let's say, text file, that file CSV file. In this case, what you are going to do is you are going to write one XSLT in between this. The job of this XLT is to transform this XML into text, that or CSV format. At this point of time, I believe there are a lot of issues for you to understand. You know all these things, but once you start creating, then you will start understanding how exactly this works, what exactly the attribute means, and all those things. Anyways, we are going to create XSLTs tomorrow, and then we will start understanding how can we write XLT. What are the basic things we need to write XSLT? Here, this is the example of one of the XML code. This is something you can understand, the example of the integration output. And this is one of the example of the XSLT code. This is how you are going to write the code. Let's say what am I doing? This is one of the XLT code. I'm just tweaking a little bit. I don't need this thing. It is the Worry School Calm. Why I am referring is because here you will be able to practice directly arrows. You don't need to. Just go to Workday and then attach XLT and you will be able to transform here also. Here what I am doing is, sorry, one more thing. See, the formatting has been changed. Basically, this is something like text file. Now let me do something. and the output file will look like this one. Let me see if this is transformation. Let me at least set up those today. What I'm doing is that may just create a new XML file, and I'm just pasting this XML. See, generally we have different tools to do the transformation test and all oxygen tool, but that's a very costly tool. We generally don't use that in integration. What we generally doing when we learn integration, we create XSLT in the Notepad++. We attach in the integration and then we used to run the integration, and that's how we used to learn how exactly that is behaving. But here you know the speed of the workday. Tenant right. If we start doing that way, that would be difficult. Let's say you created this thing. You created one XSLT and you just forgot. You just forgot. I hear. This tag and this tag is not matching. Basically, you need to correct that, and then you again need to load that into Workday, and then you will be able to transform. How exactly you will load, and all that is something I'm going to show you anyways. But for multiple testing and transformation, we are going to use Notepad++. Here, let me just change this. Not sure who has created this. Let me just try to run at least one XLT using this Notepad++, then it will be easy for us to understand from the next session onwards. Just what I'm doing. Who are having experience in coding in any language? Java, Python, C or any language. Every one of you are having experience. I have experience, Ganesh. That's good. Actually, I have also, but it's been like a long time. But I can recollect. Not me, Ganesh. I don't have any experience in that. You have never done coding Karuna any language. And Ruth VQ. Me also. I don't have the experience in coding, but I have experience in DAX language only. DAX language. I'm not sure what is that, but there have you worked on if else condition. There you used to write some condition. Syntax will be different anyways. See, the logic is same in all the coding languages. It's just the syntax is different. If you know one language, that would be enough. Let me just create one for you guys. You will understand a report, data report entry. And oh, I already had employee ID direct. Now this employee ID, then we have hired it. Then we have date of birth. And then the gender. This is amount of employee ID, first name, last name. The heading. Now, if you see, I have done the transformation. Basically, how to do this and all that is something we will discuss tomorrow. But let's see what happened. What actually happened? If you see the namespace in XML is this one. You are in Workday comp, Ganesh first report. And here, if you see, I have referred the same thing. Now this XLT is referred to this XML. Now, after that YSE, I will explain all of these things. What are all of these things? Tomorrow. And then what I have done is I have defined one variable. This is how we used to define variable in T. The tag name of the syntax is XSL variable. You define the name of the variable. This is the name of the variable and this is the value of the variable. The value here is the pipe. The value here is pipe. Whatever you will mention here, select is equal to that is a syntax. Select equal to double quotes. This select equal to double quote. This is a syntax. And here you just mentioned whatever value you need. This is the value. Here, if you see, here this pipe is coming. From this pipe is coming from the variable. This is how the variable defines. Then there is another variable defined as a new line. This is something new, line character. This is something new, line character. This is something you can get. You can search like if you want to print any special characters or new lines or tab or something like that. Then you have some characters. These are some character mapping. You can say these are hexadecimal characters mapping. You will be able to explore that on Google. You will be able to see multiple hex characters for each and every characters in whatever characters we use in general life in computer system. There will be multiple kind of characters. This is something also you know. I'm going to show you where exactly you can get that. Or you can simply do the Google for the new line character. For example, here I simply did Google like, what is the new line character to be used in XLD? See here I have got multiple new line character. This is one new line character. Then this is one new line character. I can use any one. This is how we used to print a new line in XLD. Using XLD. Then here this is template match. This template matches basically from where exactly we want to start. When you give template, match is equal to just slash. It will refer to the root node. If you see this XML, this will refer to the root node. The navigation, the execution is here. If you are giving just last. Now, if you are giving here instead of the slash, if you are giving this one report data and report entry in the template, that means this template is going to refer all the elements configured inside this. All the elements configured means what are all the records. Basically, this is one report entry. What it will do is the execution will start from here. It will auto-navigate for each and every data. It will auto-navigate from report data to report entry. You will be able to use directly employee ID and all. All those things we are going to explore. I'm just showing you the example today. Here, if you see there is another. This is something is a textbook. If you need to print something text, something you need to hard code. If you need to do some sort of hard coding, you need to print something fixed. There you can use it's XML text. Then how to print the values from the other values. Basically, you have defined the variable here. You want to use the value of this variable in many places in the XSLT. How can you use that? You will be able to use that like XL value of select is equal to new line. You need to put one $sign here and then whatever variable you have configured. If you use this way, this means you are going to print the value of this new line. What is the value of this new line? This is the new line. This is a new line character. This is a new line character. This is how you call variable and you print variable inside the output file. Then this is something for loop. For loop means like let's say we have multiple data. I want to just iterate data one by one. There are 4 books. I want to read first book. Then I want to read second book. Then I want to read third book. Then I want to read fourth book. If I want to do navigation, something like, then we know we are going to use for H. Whatever things I have used here in XLT, you will be able to understand. You will be able to get everything in Move 3 Schools Come. Here, if you see, there are templates for 4H, and here you can just go and try it yourself. Here you will be able to make some changes. And you will be able to practice as well. In XLT, basically in Workday, we are going to convert data into CSV format, text format, DIT format. We are not going to convert data into XML, HTML format. This is kind of HTML format. The formatting which has been used in the 3 Schools Come, that is different. But you can just ignore that. You can just refer to the logics, the templates. For example, if you want to understand like what is the syntax for XS, what is the same syntax for each function, then you will be able to see here the syntax. This is highlighted in red. This is how we used to use for H. You need to start the for each loop and then you need to end the for each loop. And in that for each, you can mention the condition like for which conditions, for which category the loop has to run. That is something you will be able to do. We are going to understand each and every function tomorrow. At this point of time, what I will say, you just go through this Workday Schools Come today. You just go through. Then what you do is you understand couple of things from this XML tutorial. You won't take much time. It will be in very less time, you will be able to understand everything. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@upptalk.com.